And then SATs. Okay, so this is a very big thing. SAT, I'm not really good at SAT. I didn't score that high in SAT, but I did get into a very good college. I'll be frank here. Because I see SAT as much importance as essay is, and pretty grade is equally important. So you cannot get into a very good college with just a very high SAT score. You have to be really good into other criteria as well, right? And we have students who have the highest SAT score, but he didn't get into any college. So that's the case. So you need to get a very fairly equally good scoring on everything. And what are the criteria are SAT or TOEFL, essays, and recommendation letter, which is one big factor. Letter and what else? What else left? And interview.
Letters from parents also, which normally does not apply to you, and you will be exempt. But American students will also have a letter from the parents in their application.
So interview, SAT, TOEFL, essays, recommendation letters. I would say this from the beginning. If you think you're not good in English, I would totally go for TOEFL. I didn't score really good in SAT, and then I gave TOEFL. I didn't study much in TOEFL, but I got a fairly well score, which were accepted by good universities. And when I went to the TOEFL exam and I saw the whole package, and I felt like, why did I study it from the very beginning? I could have spent much more time on TOEFL and scored very high marks than just spending it on SAT, where I couldn't do anything, where I couldn't improve any further. So I gave the same advice to one of my juniors, but he went with SAT and didn't really got a really good score. So I would totally recommend, if you feel like you don't really, first go with SAT, give a whole exam and see where is your level. And if you feel like you're not good at it, you're not up to the level, then go for TOEFL. It's a lot easier. And the thing is, the stereotype is all the American students, they give SAT, but they study it from their middle schools. And so obviously it's their mother tongue, and they have the whole advantage, right? And we are just learning it from 10th or 11th grade. So I would totally go with TOEFL. But then the thing is, it's totally up to you whether you really study TOEFL. If you give the same importance to TOEFL as you give to SAT, then I'm pretty sure that you will get a great score in TOEFL. And when you do TOEFL, you just don't look at one piece of, we have quite a different parts in TOEFL, right? Like reading part, writing part. First, just give the whole exam at once, right? And then see where is your level, right? See whether you do good in reading or poor in writing. Then focus more on writing. Then you will improve on writing, and then try to give the whole exam and see where's your level then, okay? And obviously, students who are in 10th and 11th grade, you have plenty of time, and people who will get into facility, you have a whole year, a whole gap year, right? And I would totally recommend you to study TOEFL from then on. And essays, it has to be really personal. It has to be really narrowed down. You just cannot talk about everything. Because you want to tell so many things to that admission officer, but you cannot. Because, I'm in this very prestigious initiative in my school, and the professor, he is a professor who gives like fellowships, right? And he told us that we normally take students who get good scores. They just take in because they have really good scores. But then they have 3 levels. They just throw away all the bottom students. But then they keep this middle one and see if there's any unique thing they have. And ASA is the right place where you can show why you are unique. Why you stand out from all the people. Why you are a very special person. How you can contribute to that university, right? So SA is a place where you can just give your best shot. And it's not like you just write about yourself. And it's just not the place where you exaggerate. It's a place where you write about you, yourself, you. And what I found from my own experience is admission officer, they don't really like people who just flaunt what they have to say. They kind of see things indirectly, right? Like, you just don't have to say, I'm really a caring person, right? You just need to show how you are caring. You just don't, you can't say, I'm the best person. You just have to show how you have led people, how you have made your leadership skill into a very good use, right? From then on, they would indirectly grab what you're trying to say. You just don't need to say it directly on their face. And the recommendation letter, so obviously you get it after your first year, because the whole application has to be submitted by 1st January, right? So your impression on your professors should be really good from the very first year. And when I got to Pestalozzi, and they don't appreciate, I don't know, it's kind of their culture. They prefer you to call them by name. They are kind of your friends. They are not your professors. You don't really need to say, like, you just don't need to bow or anything like that. You just need to be
talking Pestalozzi or
Pestalozzi in Hastings.
Yeah, Hastings College also.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm just asking.
Yeah, even the senior most, he prefers
us to call. But it's the whole lot. Pestalozzi village.
It's actually the boat. The whole culture. Okay, thank you. Like that, yeah. And you just need to be frank. If you have any problems, you just go to them. I'm sure it's the same with UWC as well. You just go to them and tell your problem. They will happily solve your problem. So yeah, I don't know whether it's true or not, but I heard one of the recommendation letter that our professor wrote about a guy who was brilliant in his studies, and he went to MIT. And what he wrote was, this guy is a very wonderful person. Once I left my wallet or something, and he came to return it back to me, something like that, which is kind of something really down to earth in a sense, right? You just don't write like, he's a very good student, he always scores 10 out of 10. It's nothing like that. It's like, it's a hands-on experience that the professor had, and the impression that the student had on his professor. So, yeah, and that Tibetan culture really helps, you know. So, what then? Okay. So the ones who doesn't get into scholarships, you obviously have scholarships after 12, after masters in India, or you can apply from India without getting a scholarship if you are eligible enough to pay for the tuition fees. I just wanted to mention that. And about the SAT, I just wanted to mention one thing. Like I said, I'm not really good in SAT exams, but what I noticed, what I experienced was the practice is not really important. It is important, but the important thing is you need to know why you got that wrong. You do one exam test, right? Did you do IELTS, right? See why you got it. Is it a multiple choice or what? Is it a multiple choice? No? Okay, but then the thing with SAT and the TOEFL is, I guess it's multiple choice. So what you have to do is, you get some right, you get some wrong, right? Sometimes what happens is you get right because you guessed it. And when you do the second, because all the exams have the same techniques, they have the same questions but different, it's like maths. They have different numbers but same operations, right? So try to find out why you got it right, because you might have got it right because you guessed it right? Because what happens is, so many people does it right in the beginning, in the first exam, and they get the same question, the same pattern question wrong, and you wonder why that student gets it wrong, because you feel like he knows that techniques, but he got the same question wrong in the second paper. I think that's because he just guessed it right in the first exam. So important thing is, when you practice the exams, you have to see why you got it right and why you got it wrong, and then you will figure out how to get it right? And you might improve in your. I think that will be a really good way to study SATs and TOEFL. And